morning, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Compass Coffee Talk. It was really good to see all you out there. Of course, I can't see you, but I know you're there. I'm Bill Capsalis, one of the co-hosts of Compass Coffee Talk with my good friend, Steve Hoffman, who I'll introduce to you in a second, and our special guest today, Ashley Koff. Going to be a fun, lively 30 minutes, so grab your cup of coffee and get ready. Wanted to just do a shout out to our sponsor, Allegro Coffee. We were just talking about some of their cool single origin stuff they do, and we love their coffee and thank them a lot for their sponsorship. And without further ado, I'll toss it over to Steve, the founder and president of Compass Coffee, or Compass Natural.
Yeah, you know, there actually is a Compass Coffee out there. We are not them, but I'll bet it's good coffee. We certainly like the name. Good morning, everyone. I think it's still morning everywhere in the United States. My name is Steve Hoffman. Been working with Compass Natural, our PR and marketing agency now, dedicated to healthy lifestyles industry. We've been involved in the industry for longer than we want to admit, but because of that, we enjoy deep relationships with really a wonderful community. Thank you for being a part of it. We're so thrilled to have Ashley Koff with us. I know Ashley personally as a friend and a colleague. She's an incredible influencer out there. I've watched her on television on the Dr. Oz show. She really is nationally recognized in a way where there are celebrity chefs out there. I would qualify Ashley as the celebrity dietitian. What I particularly appreciate about Ashley's approach is many dietitians follow more of a traditional model, a conventional model per se. Ashley's been among the first to really embrace the value and the benefits of healthful foods, natural, organic, whole foods, and dietary supplementation to improve health. She works with practitioners, she works with brands, she works with individuals, based now back in her one of her hometowns, Columbus, Ohio. We're very pleased. Thank you, Ashley. Please say good morning to everyone and tell us a little bit about your background from your own perspective, please.
Sure. Thank you, guys. I miss our community. So thank you for bringing us together in this way and being able to have this conversation. The short of the long of it, growing up so I was born in Ann Arbor, Michigan. I wasn't going to say this, but then I grew up in Columbus, Ohio. So growing up between Michigan and Ohio, I did not know anything about nutrition. I wanted to be Angela Bauer from Who's the Boss. I loved that she was an advertising executive. And I just thought she was amazing. And I actually went on to do that. So after college, I went up to New York and joined a WPP company, and I sold sugar cereals to America and tried to sell them around the world. Probably the only good thing that came out of that in my experience selling toilet paper and diamonds and hair color was really learning how do we market, how do we market messages effectively to different audiences and help them do things, and help inspire change. And for me, the biggest change in my life was when I ultimately was able to, after a lot of failed starts, I was able to connect with an integrative gastroenterologist and learn about my nutrition and so that inspired me to be a dietitian. And as you said, it was definitely not the traditional path. I think many a times I've thought about stopping being a dietitian because I didn't agree with sort of either what I was supposed to be learning or the way that I was supposed to be presenting it. And once I had my license, I just sort of went off on my own path that way.
And, you were in Washington, D.C. for quite some time, too. Were you operating your practice there before you moved back to Ohio?
Yeah, so a funny thing happened, with the election of President Obama and the Let's Move campaign. And at the time, I was involved with a lot of media and different programs and things in California and New York. I'd really never spent any time in DC, but I somehow ended up getting myself the title of the California State Representative for the Let's Move campaign, which was really interesting because I also chose not to be, I've never been a member, actually for a window, a small window, I was a member of the American Dietetic Association, but I was trying to help all of us lead the charge for Prop 37 in California. So there were a lot of
and that was the GMO labeling bill.
GMO labeling, yeah. So it was a lot of things like in conflict. And one of the only times that I've been in DC was with Robin O'Brien and Maria Rodale, and we were all protesting in front of the White House and talking about why we wanted GMO labeling, right? So fast forward, I find myself in this position going to DC a couple of times, and a friend of mine, a celebrity chef, Michelle Nishan, said, if you were here, what you could get done. And I was like, let's try it. So ended up moving to DC and got nothing done. I want to be really clear about my time in DC. What I learned is, so I did get some things done for private clients who were congressional representatives. I had people who worked on the Hill who were my clients, and I would help them get and stay healthy. I would teach them about, having, snacks throughout the day so that their blood sugar was more, sustainable. I talked to them about maybe the different quality of what they were consuming. But then I would find they would go vote on the Hill absolutely against what it was that I was actually sharing with them and was helping them. And when the ACA, when the Affordable Care Act came out, it was also the way that I was getting healthcare insurance. So in this administration, when that all sort of came about, and there's always been this consistent effort since the start of this administration to repeal that, I was like, I can no longer help people with their health if they are going to vote against and actively be trying to take away my healthcare. So it was a decision, and I had already started the Better Nutrition Program at that point. And I really believe fundamentally that how we are going to have successes in healthcare for all Americans, the type of healthcare that we deserve, the type of food that we deserve, the type of support that farmers deserve, is going to come from public-private partnerships. Just from what I saw in DC, the impact of the lobbying and these sorts of things. Of course, I'm really grateful for people who are running for office and who are seeking to make the change that way. And it's actually something that I may choose to pursue in the coming years. But I think right now the public-private partnership. So I shifted gears to running a company that helps motivated nutrition healthcare providers grow their businesses so that I can scale better outcomes, the type of outcomes that I was able to deliver for my patients. If I can help them grow their businesses and be more successful, more people can get and stay healthy, powered by better nutrition.
Nice.
Well, if I lived in Ohio, you'd have my vote. So maybe make it a national run.
Thank you. Yeah.
We need you in office, Ashley. I would love to see more of our industry involved in government. I really would. And I think we're getting into that leadership age where we could have more of an impact. That's my own opinion. So we want you to talk about what's going on out there, but first, how have you been holding up? Are there any challenges in particular that you could share that might be a bit of a universal truth as we all navigate our lives and our families' lives and our careers and our businesses through this pandemic?
Yeah, so I think when March hit, I'm going to be really honest, when it first started, separating from what the pandemic was like and how scary and the challenges it presented, I think I had some moments of gratitude for not having to get on planes and go travel and do all of these things. And I had been running a virtual business, and my business was also to help practitioners run their businesses virtually. And then because of some of my past experiences, like being a dietitian for reality TV shows, I ended up helping the New York State government, and in particular, the folks that run the power grid for New York, operate their, stay operational. So we quarantine them, and I figured out how to feed them and how to, just do all these things. And thank you, by the way, to any of our partners in the natural foods industry that helped me as part of that project. So I will tell you, in the beginning, I actually had one of the most exciting, exhilarating, and I feel comfortable saying this, exciting, exhilarating experiences, and just a really intense month of March. So the only thing that was different for me was no Expo West and no March Madness and the end of the NBA. So I had my pain points, but what I didn't expect was how, when this prolonged and this kept going on, just what the reverberations would be. The other thing is my brother is a critical care pulmonologist at Yale. And so he runs their COVID unit. He's part of the team there. And then my other brother in Oregon was pregnant with my now nephew. So one of the things that this really has done for our family has really challenged us for, hey, how do we all come together and get to see each other? We're used to spending time, connecting and seeing each other. How do we collaborate to try to help keep each other safe? My parents are in North Carolina and they're older and super healthy, but they couldn't go out and where could we find access to quality information? So a lot of times I was privileged to be able to get information from my brother, or privileged to be able to get information from my work with New York State and that kind of thing. And so what it really did for me going into, I would say the time that was the roughest for me was May and June, where I started to realize the total toll that this had taken on my body, just when we aren't able to use our go-to to connect with our go-to resources and the things that we've put in place to help stay healthy, and just really how disconnected and isolated I felt. So a lot of changes there, everything from standing up to work, going out for walks. I actually made a pretty consistent rule that I would only do 2 Zooms a day. I just said no to anything else as a Zoom, and only did them as phone calls. So I really had to change my game. And then I'm super lucky. We have a small apartment in Maine, and I packed up the car, and at the end of June, I left my boyfriend and his family here, and I met up with my parents, and we went up to Maine, and I ended up staying for 3 months. So it's been so different. The one thing that it's taught me from a business experience and a personal experience is, try to recognize what your needs are and put those needs in place, but don't be so attached to the routine of how those are presented. Just make sure that you're getting those needs met. So I really it's the nimbleness, I think, that I had to tap into.
Huh. Interesting. And so dietary.
That's, and I think there's universal things in there. Yeah. Go ahead, Bill.
I was just thinking, Ashley, so you had to shift also your dietary and health approach, right? Because you were all of a sudden on the road, you were moving around. How did you approach that?
Yeah, and I remember at the beginning, I did a lot of TV around the explosion of supplement sales, but there was also the explosion of pizza deliveries. And, I was calling it really the great paradox of 2020, which is the junk foodification of so many of our lives. And even the things that we've been doing, like my mom was pointing out, she's like, we're using so much plastic, we're throwing things away, we're using hand sanitizer with ingredients we maybe wouldn't have used before. So there was a lot of that side. And then there was this other side where we were all trying to do all of these things, like, what do we take to support our immune health? What do we eat to support our immune health? What do we do on all of those pieces? So for me, it was actually really just kind of going back to basics, starting off with, hey, how am I doing on that rainbow? Like, how often am I getting in? And you know what? Like, if I'm getting it in from frozen or canned, or, I'm somebody who, while I love to cook, I also, as I mentioned, I travel, and depending on if I'm at my house or my boyfriend and his kids' house, it's like, so what are we doing with, are we eating out, or are they getting drive-through, these kinds of things? How do we just at the basic give the body what it needs to run better, and then look at, where can we get some boosts and plussing some things up? So you're right. It was really important for me. I had to come back to some key things. I had become very reliant on stimulants, a lot of them. So somewhere along the line, I went from 1 espresso with CBD in the morning to 3. So that was, hey, I had my tapering down program, right? Like I went back to matcha, and then I was like, all right, what about chocolate in the afternoon? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then alcohol, playing in, and, some of these other pieces. So a good bit of, that May, June for me was a rebuild in terms of, both personally, and then what I was seeing with my clients, and what I'm seeing so much of today is that we really have to find a way to just be in the here and now in this such an unplannable time, but to set certain goals. And as one of my friends taught me about planning backwards from them. So, hey, it's really important to me with, we've got cold and flu season coming up. I really want to try to get through this season without getting sick. So let me plan backwards from that. What does that mean for the holidays? What does that mean for my emotional health? As Steve and I were talking earlier, as the days are getting shorter. And I think for brands, it's so unbelievably important right now. If I can speak to those of you that are in that space, that you look at helping being a partner in those relationships right now and helping people with their backwards planning, showing them how you can connect, and really giving them, hey, I'm here with you as a partner in these crazy times, rather than just being out there with a message like, oh my gosh, we have zinc, and zinc is great for your immune health, like that kind of thing.
Yeah, I was thinking that, a couple of years ago, because we work a lot in the hemp business with clients there, we were joking saying CBD is like the greatest thing since vitamin C. Well, now I think vitamin C is the greatest thing since vitamin C. It's kind of back to some of these basic supplements that we're seeing people start to take again to boost their immunity. Vitamin C, vitamin D, we're hearing a lot about. But yeah, I'm really interested in your paradox too, because I also find myself wanting to take that additional little shot of whiskey as well to calm myself down. So, I have to be calm.
Yeah.
Are you with us, Ashley?
And, Steve, you bring something up that I think is so important. Are you having trouble hearing me, or I hear?
No, now you're there. You froze for just a moment.
Oh, got it. 2020. And Mercury's now retrograde. So, as if 2020 wasn't all Mercury retrograde, But, I think one of the things that's so important is that we don't look to two things to take away, really thinking about the virus and from a health standpoint. One of those things is don't treat something that you don't have. So you don't want to start boosting and doing a bunch of stuff to wage war, to have your army wage war if your army is currently not waging war. And the other part is really to be personalized, extremely intentional. Of course, it's what I built my company on. But we have to do assessments to understand, are we getting in those nutrients? So whether it's our rainbow evaluation and you're seeing, are you getting in the colors, or you're looking at our iron or our trace minerals and seeing, is it that I'm not getting these things in, or is it that maybe it's my digestive system, I'm not absorbing them well and I need to tune up my digestion, or I might be getting them in, but I'm not getting in, but I'm getting in something that's competing with them, and that can be causing an issue. So I really caution against just finding a nutrient and deciding to invest in it for a health value, because one of the things that's so important to understand about your body is that more is not better in any case. So more vitamin C is actually not better for your body. It becomes a pro-oxidant, as valuable as it is as an antioxidant if we're getting in too much of it. So yes, there's tremendous value in getting in high amounts of vitamin C when your body is actually waging war against a virus, but not before that. And too much zinc can interfere with your iron absorption and your iron levels. And so that can be a real issue for, for our healthy blood and oxygenation and energy and all these other things. So we just don't want to go out there and find these nutrients and pinpoint that. And I think
that's what I worry about a little bit too, because it's like, I'm thinking I'm protecting myself with this, but there has to be a holistic approach.
Yeah. And one of the things, and I'm one of the partners at Beyond Brands, and one of the reasons, and sort of switching over into the business model of that, is that one of the things that I think we do extremely well there, working with our companies or companies that are coming through Beyond SKU, which we just have started at this point where you're incubating, is in any space today, whether it's an individual around their nutrition, a business needs to be understanding that and built really around that personalization. So what you don't want to do is just come and say and we would never do this if a beverage company is coming in there and saying hey, we want to offer, vitamin C in here. The conversation our whole team is going to have, let's back up. What's the story of your brand? And what's the intention of offering vitamin C? What are the sources, right? And we can start to, look through all of those pieces. And I think as that's really where, when I think about medicine and the best practices in medicine, it's really about integrative, like how can you bring all of that together? What I think we do really well at Beyond Brands from a business standpoint, and where I've seen the most successful companies come together, is really taking an integrative approach. So the financial person's going to understand what the, what that crazy nutritionist who's advising the company, who also is going to be the person who's talking to the founder about their vision and really integrating, and bringing that together as well.
No, it's good. A shout out to Beyond Brands. It's a great collective. We collaborate with them as well and do some PR for some of the brands that they work with. Yeah, no, we're very, very grateful, and just transparency and disclosure in that regard. But it's a great group of people, and I see that our friend Marcy Zaroff put the website on the chat.
And Marcy, you'll be so angry at me. I'm not going to pull down my sweater, but I actually have on my yes and vote shirt underneath here, which I've been like anywhere I can. Like, I'm wearing my stickers. I'm doing all these other things. But I was so cold that I put on a sweater over it. But thank you so much for doing those. They have got certified. They've got organic t-shirts and masks, and they say vote boldly. So, I might actually care who you vote for, but right now I really, really care that you're voting. So I appreciate
exactly.
That's a little PSA there. Yeah.
Yeah. And Marcy, our friend, is the coiner of the term eco-fashion. She's been doing organic cotton and fashion for many years, and is coming out with some great stuff. Bill, you got a question?
No, something came in through the Q&A, and it's Alicia says, so I take it that Truly advertising that their hard soda contains vitamin C is just annoying.
Alicia, thank you so much. It is annoying. I mean, here's the thing. It's kind of like when I saw a water bottle at the height of, I guess we're still in the gluten-free phase, but at the height of the gluten-free, where it said gluten-free on your water, like, come on for a minute, And so, what that makes me think of with Truly is like, you've taken yourself down a notch, like, because there are attributes that we always want to celebrate. And there might be a reason to believe if you're making, a statement about something, but what I really want you to, and I'm not picking on this brand, I don't even know the brand, I've never tried it, but if you have something in there, think about what you can actually be talking, to like get deeper into immune health. Are you helping somebody consume less added sugar, which is a win for immune health? And oh, by the way, it's a delicious way to get in vitamin C, but also what's the source of your vitamin C? So here's the thing, people, like, we're all consumers, and consumers are just so much smarter today. Like, we might not be smarter, we're just so much smarter to the marketing tricks. So you really want to build a relationship with me. You don't want to just tell me something that you think that I want to hear, because people like the Ashley Koff RDs are going to be out there saying, hey, that brand is just telling you something. I got something better for you. Let's dive into that piece. So thanks for bringing that one up, Alicia.
Yeah.
And Alicia is a neighbor of yours relatively. She's based in Ohio as well.
She just left me. So really fun story.
Are you guys friends?
We're totally friends. And I'll tell you how we met.
She's an organic certifier. So she certifies organic farm operations.
Yes, including Rocca chocolate. So I could go on and on, but she actually just moved to North Carolina. So we met in DC while I was living in DC, but I was just about to move to Ohio, and we were with the Organic Trade Association. We were lobbying on organic. So we got to spend the day doing that together. And that's one of the things that I just wanted to say. First of all, thank you to you and Bill. You were mentioning you guys interviewed Miyoko and this piece. So one of the reasons that I am the dietitian that I am today, and also, and who I am today, is also who a lot of different healthcare practitioners, dietitians, doctors, chiropractors, et cetera, are choosing to invest in me to help them grow their business. And it's on the backs of all of you, whether it's Marcy out there, Alicia, or you, Steve, Bill, like, you guys have helped teach us. And I think that, like, and in particular taught me. I mean, I remember Mike Fata saying to me, hey, I see what you're doing with those acai guys. Have you ever heard of hemp? And I'm like, giggle, giggle, and here it was, like, and then the next thing I know, I'm flying up to Manitoba and I'm learning about hemp seeds. And then I'm, talking to him about the hormonal value for women and eye health and, all these other pieces. And that's how we get this done so much better than any other industry, because we're able to teach and grow with each other. So it's one of, my absolute favorite things about being a part of this community.
Oh, that's awesome. And a small world too, because we just interviewed Mike for a written article for Let's Talk Hemp newsletter. I'm the editor of that. That's at letstalkhemp.com. And Mike is now in a new phase of his career where he's giving back and mentoring other entrepreneurial brands. So, you're right. We support each other, we educate each other, and help push this message out to the greater audience out there that needs it, because to me, when you have like 12 pesticide residues in a conventional apple, even after you wash it, and that's based on an apple a day that keeps the doctor away, if you ask me, right? So a question for you, Ashley. I'm not so sure we're in a second wave of COVID. I still think we're in the first wave, but I do believe what you were saying earlier is people may be in a second wave. How do is there a toolkit we can put together to kind of stay healthy and relatively happy through the winter and beat this thing?
Yeah. So there are two parts. I kind of want to take it to a more macro level, just about our overall health, I think, rather than just the specific virus in terms of focus. Please do. So working in LA for a long time, I was kind of known as that dietitian that helped a lot of the Hollywood, red carpet ready, like how do they stay that way? And, people would usually in January or February, it was like, let's do an interview. I'm like, what's their red carpet ready diet? Like it was a 7-day thing. And I was like, yeah, this is what they do all day, every day. And then we build in, some flexibility, in that part. But if you're really focused in on a goal, you have to pay attention to that goal, and you really have to get to the root of it and then bring it, from within. So, so it isn't what's good for your skin to look good on the outside. It's how's your digestion on the inside. And when we talk about getting and staying healthy, we have to, first of all, as I was talking about earlier, really understand that it's our emotional and our physical health, our physiologic and psychologic and are intertwined. It's why CBD is something that crosses in both of those is, so valuable as I, choose to drink it either in my coffee or in a beverage, right? But what we have to think about in a bigger space on that piece is really assessing where we are today and building in ongoing assessment to make sure that as things come at us, our body is able to address and deal with them with the best outcome, right? Because the likelihood of us all saying we're going to be able to prevent, getting ourselves from getting COVID or from the flu or anything else like that, or the choices people will make in choosing to get a vaccine or not choosing to get a vaccine or any of these other things that are so highly politicized. At the end of the day, the biggest issue that we're facing is this just, such a failure in our healthcare system to help people have access to personalized nutrition, beginning with assessment. So I need to know today, Steve, is your digestive system healthy? If your digestive system isn't healthy, that's the first place that you have to step into. And then we start to look at how do we build Steve's plan? It's not a one-size-fits-all plan. There's the term precision nutrition that's being floated around. It's personalized, you guys. It's all about personalized, right? And what we really need to do in that place is say, like, hey, let me look at what I think my body needs, and let me focus on how to give it what it needs. And then focus on making sure I reduce exposure to what can irritate, overwhelm, and disrupt it. So if that's a whole lot of stuff, take away two things. One, you've got to have a healthy digestion. And if you don't know what I mean by that, you can reach out to me. You can find me through the Better Nutrition Program. We've got an assessment tool for that. We'll send you to the right providers.
And I am going to ask, how can people work with you? Yeah.
Great.
Go.
So the bummer
Part
of
two.
that part is they can't. You cannot work with me as a healthcare practitioner right now. I'm too busy in terms of my business, and I also have just kept the clients that I've had over the years. But I have a network of healthcare practitioners who are using our tools. So you go to the Better Nutrition Program and you go to our providers, and they've been vetted by me, and they're a range of different practitioners, and you can work with them. So I definitely invite you to do that part. And the second thing that you want to do is you want to build in personal check-ins. So for my clients that I am working with and what I teach practitioners, you need to have stress check-ins, maybe 3 times a day, and see on a scale of 1 to 10, if your stress level is above a 7, you have to stop and reduce your stress. Maybe on a longer period of time, on a quarterly basis, I want you to assess your digestion. Maybe on a twice annual basis, I want us to look at our vitamin D levels and make sure that they're where they need to be. You know, all these your particular health goals and what your body currently needs.
Well, Ashley, here to take in, and that people are having to manage in 2020. And it just really gives me hope and inspiration to talk with you. I hope that it does others, because I know we're all on our personal journeys, but we're all also kind of getting through this as a community. We may not all be in the same boat, but I think we can help us steer in the right direction.
Yep.
And all that analogy. But thank you very much. And I know we're toward the end of our time. Bill, do you have anything you'd like to add to close with?
I have a couple of thoughts, and we also would like to pick our winner of our coffee bag of coffee this week. And we're going to send a bag of coffee to a friend of ours up in Canada, Rasa Bashir, who dialed in this morning. Hello, Rasa. Look for a bag of Allegro coffee from us. Ashley, I had one quick comment, and that was whatever you're having this morning with the energy level you have, I'd like some of it, please. Can you? I know it's not caffeine. Apparently, you're only doing a little caffeine. So let me know what that energy boost looks like. And no, it's been great to listen. I found myself really just listening a lot today, which was great because I learned a lot, and super cool. I love the fact that you're working with providers across the country to share your message in a bigger way, which is great. So instead of trying to do all that yourself, you have disciples out there preaching the good word. So that's good. And I just want to say my personal thanks for coming on this morning. It was great. Yeah. Yeah,
your work with practitioners is really important. It's like brands working with influencers, because the practitioners need to be able to educate their patients and clients about the value of nutrition in optimal health. And that, I think, is a bit underestimated in traditional medicine, maybe not so much in some alternative medicine, but I think that connection still needs to be reiterated over and over. So Ashley, thank you so much for the really important work you are doing out there. You too will receive a bag of Allegro coffee, and I think you already have your Compass Coffee Talk official commemorative mug. And we really look forward to staying in touch. So thank you again. Everyone who's participated, we love you. Thank you for helping support Compass Coffee Talk. Reach out to us anytime. And Ashley, I know you're not taking clients, but if somebody wanted to learn more, are they going to go to betternutritionprogram.com?
So it's the Better Nutrition Program, and you can go to the .com. You can find us on social media. And Steve, I know we often tag each other, and I follow what you do on LinkedIn. If you guys have any questions for me, LinkedIn is a great way to connect with me there. And if I can support your business or your health efforts, please let me know, and I'll keep you all posted when you can support me in Ohio and maybe beyond to go back to DC and create some of the change that we need to see.
Great. Thank you.
Again, thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Stay well, stay safe. We'll talk to you next month when we feature former Global Purchasing Director Errol Schweitzer, formerly of Whole Foods Market, now with the Checkout, advocating for retail workers across America and worldwide. So we're very excited for Errol Schweitzer to join us. I believe, Bill, what's that, November 19th?
Yep.
All right, everybody. So long now. Ashley, hope to see your smiling face soon again.
Thank you. Take care, you guys.
Bye.